doing recruitment, and I've done recruitment for more than 13 years. And in time, I discovered how a successful CV would look like, what kind of candidates usually take the job, what's their strategy, what hiring managers like.
Who was Roxana in college?
She has been a pretty regular student, attending most of the classes, but also joining to hang out with friends between classes. Then in my second year of university, I became quite interested in criminal psychology.
What would be the main difference between having a job and having a career?
When you say a job, it's more like short, medium term. When we're talking career, we're talking more like medium, long term.
How somebody can pick the best career for them? What would be the first steps when thinking about starting a career?
First thing first, one needs to look at himself or herself and try to analyze what you know how to do, what you love to do, and start from there.
There are a lot of opportunities right now, and the pandemic and COVID changed the whole world. What do you think are the most required jobs right now? How do you think they should write the CV?
I would say a mind shift here would be going from here is everything I know how to do to this is how I can help you.
What you said here can actually make a difference. What do you think are some red flags, like when you read a CV?
Crumbled information, not being structured enough, bad grammar.
What would be the best attitude to have in the first interview?
Just try some interviews for the sake of going to interviews. Especially young professionals, I would advise them to try things out. Go, volunteer, do internships, talk with people, take the time to practice. Be there as you are.
So hello everybody, I'm Aurelian, I'm the CEO of Studylia, and today I'm really excited to have another interview. I want to remind you that this interview is only for early access members. So if you join the early access member, then welcome, you can join us live and also ask questions. This interview will be recorded and you will find it also on YouTube in the following days. So for everybody to join, but they won't have the chance to ask questions. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So today we're going to talk with Roxana Giubernea, an international recruitment professional with over 13 years of experience, and that's a really impressive background. So Roxana worked with companies of different sizes and businesses across European market, from small companies to global technology organizations. She believes that everyone should have a chance to find clarity and confidence to reach out to their professional goals. That is why she dedicated herself to helping those in need of a job or searching for a new professional opportunity. She provided personal, professional coaching and consultancy services for a lot of people. So today she's going to help us with some insights and also some tips and tricks. Roxana, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Very honored and happy to be here.
Cool. So let's start. So I'm going to start with a question that I really like to ask everybody. So if we were to meet in college, who was Roxana in college?
Yeah, I haven't thought in a while of Roxana in college, but I would say she has been a pretty regular student. Yeah, attending most of the classes now that I'm thinking about it, but also enjoying to hang out with friends between classes over coffee. I've done quite a decent amount of voluntary work between my years of university, but also during. That's also connected with the studies that I took in psychology. So I had a lot of opportunities back then to a lot of voluntary work. Internships were not really a thing yet, so I didn't have much chances on that. In my second year of university, I became quite interested in criminal psychology, and that stayed with me for like 2 or 3 years until I got my first HR summer job before my first last year of university. So since then, I'm I've met by chance with HR and kind of stayed with me.
Wow, that's really cool. So now that you said that you were looking into a lot of things, and then especially the most interesting ones, and yet you decided to become a career coach. How did you make that decision?
I think that developed in time, I would say, because in my job, corporate job, if you want, I'm doing recruitment, and I've done recruitment, like I mentioned earlier, for more than 13 years now. I've worked in different kind of sizes of companies, but also in different regions with different kind of profiles. And in time, I discovered some patterns that I could see everywhere, and how a successful CV would look like, what kind of candidates usually take the jobs, what's their strategy, what hiring managers like. So I think from looking from that point of view, as a recruiter, you don't get to give much back in terms of like feedback, even if candidates ask for. Majority are not actually willing to take it the right way, let's say, and they usually get defensive or try to justify in some way what you're telling them. So that's kind of my way, the career coaching path. It's my way to give back and kind of try to help people without putting them in defense mode.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's really interesting that you are trying to give back. There are not a lot of people nowadays that do that. So that's really cool that you're trying to give back and also help others. But now thinking about this feedback that you are trying to do, and you said that people are actually getting defensive when they receive feedback. So what would be the one thing that you love most about your job? Because you have to work with people, give feedback, sometimes give a no, and it's not really easy all the time to hear a no or bad news. So what do you love most about it?
Well, I would say exactly part of what you already mentioned, like working with a lot of people, meeting a lot of people. I'm learning a lot from my candidates as well. Like most of things, like technical things, because I'm working a lot with technology and IT technology and all that. Not only, but a lot. I would say most of what I know, I've learned from my candidates. So that's one part that I always have. I'm adding new knowledge, new skill from my experience. And then working with a lot of managers, helping them as well understand that it's not always about what the company needs, but also trying to create a bridge, I would say, between people, something in that area. So basically people and working with people.
I see. Okay, that's a really interesting thing. It's not easy to work with people, so
No, it's not.
so I know that it can be challenging at sometimes. So now talking with a lot of young people, and especially I had a chance in the past maybe 10 years to teach and to coach other people myself. So there is this big question that I received, and I'm really curious to see what do you think. It's what would be the main difference between having a job and having a career? We are hearing a lot of positive things when careers are presented, and not so many positive things when we are calling it a job. So what would be the main difference?
If we're talking in this context, I would say you need a first job to create a career, first of all. But I think it's more in terms of when you say a job, it's more like now, here, it's short, medium term. It's something that you do now. Sometimes you do it because you want to, you love it, but also a job can be something that just brings you money and gives you a sense of purpose today. Not necessarily you're looking to create a career in that field. Usually when we're talking career, we're talking more like medium long term. We're talking about a sequence of jobs. We're talking about growing in terms of skills, sometimes, as well as like growing or developing in like taking more senior jobs or growing as a manager or leader. But it's not always that. I mean, you can have a career and be an expert in your field, and that's enough. You don't need to be a manager. Not everyone needs to be a manager to have a career, because that's also something that people think about when they say career is like, okay, now I'm going to run a company sometime in the future. And it's not that. It's more like developing and growing, and also having a plan. Creating a career means some sort of planning, and not just let it be and see how it goes.
Okay. So let me see if I understood correctly. So you're saying that the main difference between having a career and a job is that a career would involve a long-term plan and also a growth. So it's not only about the money, like trading time for money. It's also investing time, energy into reaching a certain goal. Is that right?
Precisely.
Wow, really, really cool. So let's go and focus a little bit on this career, because I think it's really important thing. Like if you think about starting a career or growing a career, you mentioned that it's not that important to become a manager. So not always the end result is becoming a manager, and that's fair and cool. But what would be the first steps to take when thinking about starting a career?
Well, the first thing first, I would say one needs to look at it himself or herself and understand or try to analyze a bit what you know how to do, what you love to do, and start from there. Then start looking in the market. What is the need out there? What are the skills or the type of jobs that people or companies are looking to fill? If we're thinking of ikigai principle, I would add there as well the part in which you also, of course, need to earn enough money to make a good living. So you don't think about that part that much, because when that hurts, then the others get hurt as well, let's say. Yeah. So it's discovering, I would say, in general, to be able to create a career and stay focused on your career. I don't think people do enough these days at looking of what exactly do you want to do, what do you enjoy, and start building from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I get it. But what do we do with people when they're confused? Because more and more millennials and Gen Z people, like really young people, when they finish college, when they finish their studies, whatever they are, they're really confused on what should they start. And we are constantly bombarded by all this social media influence trends, people talking on what you should do, what should you pick, and so on. So how somebody can pick the best career for them?
That's one other thing that they say in media, or wherever you look for guidance. It's like, choose one career. Why one? You can have several. You can change careers during a lifetime. I mean, you don't need to stick with one career. That's so limiting. I would, especially young professionals, I would advise them to try things out. Go volunteer, do internships, talk with people. Why do you love your job? If you admire someone, what do you do daily? What do you enjoy about your job? What you don't enjoy about your job? So you also find out what are those things that you maybe it's not bothering you, or maybe you agree and you actually don't want to do that job. One interesting thing that young people can do, it's also informational information interviews, like informational interviews. That's the precise word. Which you basically, what you do is approach professionals, some that you know, some that you don't know, and ask them to just share their experience with you. So this is how you find out, okay, what has been their story, because also you can get inspired from there, like how they got into the job that they have today. And maybe you can follow the same path, or maybe you can kind of combine different stories that you found out and create your own. What skills they have, all this information that it is out there, but you need to reach out and you need to I would say to try things out. You don't need to finish college and jump into a job and find out in a couple of years that you don't really enjoy it, but hey, I invested already a couple of years, so I'm gonna just stay here. That's not really the way to go, I would say, but hey, each person decides for himself. Just try things out. One thing that I really like in Sweden, when I'm based now, is that here between high school and university, they take 1 or 2 years off. Almost nobody takes immediately the university. And what they do in that time is just travel and take different kind of jobs. So this is how they find out, okay, what I actually want to study, what I want to do. And I think that's really cool. Just connect with the real world, find out how you fit in it, and then start thinking about what you want to do.
Okay. That's really interesting because like I remember a long time ago when I started my career, it was like this trend that you need to start as early as possible. And I think in some countries and in some cultures, it's always the same thing, like start as early as possible, get money, become independent, and so on. But you're saying if you want to build a long-term career, you should try to experiment. You should try to see different things to see if you like them or not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you thought you knew and you start something and you actually discover in time that doesn't actually feel right, then feel free to try something else. And it's this saying that it's, even if you already have some sort of job or you started a career and then you want to start doing something else, you don't start from scratch anymore. You start from experience, some sort of experience. So you're not the same person that just was fresh out of college.
Yeah. Oh, really interesting. We have a question in the chat. So Dixit asks, during the time of pandemic, when the competition is really high and the opportunities to do what they really want is low or really time taking or consuming, then what is the best approach to kickstart a career during the time that we live in, this high uncertainty time? So what do you think is the best approach to start a career?
Let me see, to understand a bit also the question.
So it's in this pandemic time when things are really uncertain. What would be the best approach to start a career?
I would say is I would say it connects a lot with what we already talked about, but I would say it's also about understanding that part that I mentioned, understanding the need. Okay, what exactly they are looking for these days in the market. And that can depend from country to country, depending on also the industry that you're targeting. Because, for example, you might want to work, I don't know, in finances. Probably banking clerk is not the way to go, but maybe tax specialist it is, because, hey, everyone is working remotely. Taxes will be a bit more complicated in the following months or years. So it's about understanding a bit also the need and trying to go that way. And then in terms of, well, that comes to job search basically. And it's again connecting with people, talking with people, not going on LinkedIn and mentioning I'm a software developer and I'm looking for a job and that's it. So good luck. So many others. So it's trying to offer something to those people that you want them to help you in order to then to ask for their help. So I would say it's an entire strategy around the job search, connecting with companies, connecting with people, not only applying to jobs, but also trying to connect with people from those companies that you're targeting, not targeting all the companies in the market and just make a list and start with that at least. So it's an entire recipe, I would say, and it's not even a recipe because there can be so many different ways to do it.
Okay. That's really interesting that you said that it's not about just displaying yourself, hey, or raising a flag, hey, I'm open to work. It's more like reaching out, right? And I think not a lot of people are actually reaching out right now. And what you said here can actually make a difference, right? So everyone competes, but I think those that reach out have an upper hand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Usually when reaching out, yes, it's also about having the balance in what you offer and what you ask for. Because I also, as what I'm doing, I have a lot of people approaching me with exactly the same approach that I mentioned earlier. I'm looking for a job. Well, good for you, success. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because they don't even ask anything. They're just saying that. So it's okay. What's in it for me as well,
Yeah.
right? Because this is when someone approach you, even if it's online. Like, people think if it's online, it's okay to just say or approach anybody with like just throwing some words. And in terms of educating a bit the candidates or applicants, is like, think if you would have the same approach on the street, would that person say something? So, I mean, just try to be polite, try to also offer something, comment on their content if you're going online, like their content, send an interesting article, create a conversation, and then get to, hey, by the way, can you offer me some advice? Maybe not a job, but some advice. And maybe they don't have something that they can offer you today, but maybe in a couple of months, or who knows.
Yeah, I think it's really cool what you mentioned right now. It's more like a selling thing, right? So you don't want to be too aggressive with it, but try to understand, try to see how people are doing into that particular market that you are trying to, or career that you are trying to enter, and then try to offer something, and then ask for either a reference or job, and so on. So really cool advice, and I think this will definitely help a lot of people. So thank you for that. One question related to this one is that there are a lot of opportunities right now, and the pandemic and COVID changed the whole world. Like we're now more online. There are a lot of things that are happening online, and people are connecting across the globe. Like we are now. So we have here with us people from India, and we also are in Europe based, but in different countries. So we can connect from all over the world, right? So what do you think are the most required jobs right now, and how things changed because of this lockdown, and traveling is a little bit restricted, work in the office it's different.
Yeah, have been some changes in the past year, that's for sure. I would say the technical IT jobs there are still in demand. One field that developed quite well is the medical one. A lot of medical staff, nurses are needed out there in many countries. Kind of they're kind of short on staff. Technology, when we say, it's like software developers, but um, also like infrastructure, networking, all that area. Scrum Master is something that many companies would need at least at one or two projects. So that's a market that's also one can kind of job, and there are a lot of trainings on Scrum Mastering. So that's one way to go. I would say in the future, and of course, I'm talking about this maybe because it's so close to where I'm living now in the north of Europe, but like alternative energy jobs will develop more and more in the future. And also, one part, so we talk about less kind of related with university, it's also like hands-on jobs, like electricians or plumbers, or like people don't do those things with their own hands anymore. So that's a market. Of course, it's a bit more tricky these days in some countries to like face to face and all that. But still, if you need such person, you would pretty much take the risk, because you cannot live without having the problem solved, right?
Yeah.
And then, yes, another thing that, or one other job that I mentioned earlier is also tax specialists. They estimate that this will grow, and it's very much connected with this remote work. A lot of companies are opening the doors. We're hiring from everywhere. Yeah, but that legally and tax wise, it's not that straightforward. So they will need specialists there.
Okay, that's really interesting, and what you said right now, it's also even more interesting, because like it means that when you think about what job should I take, what career should I perceive, also to think and look outside and what's happening, and not seeing as a problem but as an opportunity, because the world won't stop, right? So this pandemic will pass, but the world will shift a little bit. And some of the trends that we can see out there is, as you said, the green movement to the green energy, businesses trying to solve climate change. Also, the medical thing exploded right now because there are a lot of needs for people to be there to take care of the sick, and of course, this will go on also in the future. And also, tech is booming like for years now. So different jobs related to tech, as I said, Scrum Master is something related to the process in the companies, but also different other tech opportunities. Really important. So yeah. Now, one other question that I have for you is, let's say that we are not thinking about the people that are starting right now, but people that are already in. They have a job, they are doing something, and then at some point they feel like they are not progressing anymore. They are stuck, and how do you think that they should make a decision to switch careers or try something else?
Well, one thing that you said there is that they feel they are stuck. So the career coach in me would ask, how do you know you're stuck? What can you do to get unstuck? What others can help you with what they can help you with to get unstuck? And all those kind of questions to understand exactly, okay, is this for real? Are you really stuck, or is it just an idea?
Yeah.
And if yes, indeed, they feel there's no way in their current career or company to move ahead, then yeah, definitely you should explore something else. And then it comes to, if you want to start from like a totally new field, or if you want to take some part of what you're already doing and move it to a slightly different job. And to come back to the what I mentioned earlier with the finance jobs, right? It's okay. Maybe you're not doing the precise same job. Maybe you're not, I don't know, you're not going to work in, and it's not exactly finance, but maybe not in payroll, but you go in, I don't know, taxes, since I mentioned a lot of this. But just using a part of what you know and see what else do you need to change it a bit, or just think, okay, what I'm actually love from what I'm doing, what are those things that I think are missing, and how can I combine this with finding something else? And then comes to transferable skills and what you can bring from what you already know, because I mentioned earlier, you start from experience now, you don't start from scratch anymore. Sometimes you do need to study additional to something to develop in something, but sometimes you don't. And then again, ask people, spread the word around. I would say people don't share as much as they should the fact that I'm looking for something else, because might be that your best friend knows something, but he doesn't know that you're looking. So just talk with people and then see what else you can do with what you already either know how to do, or you're good at, or you would like to do, and you normally you love to do.
Okay, that's really interesting. Now, thinking about jobs, thinking of jobs in general, and also switching companies is really interesting. But when we do that, when we start either a new job or we switch a company, what do you think that are some particular jobs that we should avoid, that are either in danger or they're not relevant anymore? Do you think that there are such jobs? And if yes, what they would be?
Yeah, I think in we already saw some sort of jobs slightly disappearing or being less requested, I would say. I think it's focusing a bit on how the technology goes, and what are the jobs that will be replaced in the future by automation and by machines. And I don't know. For example, one job that we still can find these days, and probably in time will disappear, is like the cashier from the supermarket. Just think how simple it is. Now we already have automated machines that where we can pay, right? So why not just replace everyone? And this will be at some point the outcome. And then are those jobs in terms of manufacturing, like workers maybe from factories that and not only workers, because besides the worker itself, there are a lot of people that are supervising and doing different things. So probably from like, I don't know, 100, they will remain with 20 that can do the job. Then there's those jobs like postal workers that will disappear in time, probably, they estimate. So the printing media, it's not doing that well. So I would say not go there unless you're super passionate about, but also think about how you can go in maybe online media. Travel agents, they say in time won't be that necessary, because these days we are all kind of already doing that job for ourselves online. So yeah, unless you're super busy or lazy, you can have a travel agent, but otherwise most people are looking at money and they are doing their own thing. So yeah, what else? Kind of these kind of areas. Think about when you could be replaced by some sort of technology.
Okay. So that is for sure. Technology is changing things, and at the moment you're saying, and I definitely agree with that. As technology grows, it changes everything, and not being aware of that shift, either in technological evolution or in different changes in the market, will definitely be dangerous. So yeah, I agree. Now, let's say that for people that are looking for a job and they're preparing their CV, how do you think they should write the CV in such a way that that CV actually has results or stands out?
Yeah, I would say a mind shift here would be going from here is everything I know how to do. This is me to this is how I can help you. This is how I come in front of your need, and I can help you with your need. The CV is or should be a marketing material. And when you think marketing, you don't think about your product, but what your customer is needing. So I think that's one big shift, that if a candidate would do that, would have much more success. And start from the company. That's why also I mentioned earlier, don't target the entire market. Just think about the industry or the kind of companies you want to work in. Make a list of like, I don't know, 10 companies, and start building from there your CV. What is their culture? What they are looking for in general, and then what they are looking for in the jobs for which you are applying. Try to customize your CV as much as possible. Look very closely in a job ad at responsibilities, and if you look close enough, you will also discover what they are missing, because usually they are looking something that is not there.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's not a big thing. And then requirements. If you match 70-80% of the requirements in the CV, not in your head, because you know I've done that, but if it's not in your CV, I don't know. So it needs to be there, then the chances are much higher.
Okay, I see. But like it's really interesting what you said right now, because like you said, the CV should be a marketing related thing. It should be not this is who I am, like these are all the things that I can do. It's more like a different thing. And I think to create a CV with a marketing approach is also a different change in mindset. And I think it's really important to mention this. So let me see if I understand correctly. You're saying whenever we are searching for a new job, we are not actually searching for a job. We are trying to find a solution to solve. Like somebody has a problem, we have the skill, so we should try to solve their problems, right?
Yeah, you need to be explicit enough in your CV how you come towards the need they have and how you can help them. One thing that I want to add is like a confused recruiter or hiring manager would be one that will move on to the next application. So don't confuse people. Make it as clear as possible, and don't put their 100, I don't know, technology if you're working in tech. Just put the technologies that they are interested in, and maybe something around it, maybe something similar, but not everything that you know if you know a lot. And this happens a lot in professionals that have been on the market for a while now, or in students that have taken a lot of different trainings or courses, and they are putting there everything. So then it's like, okay, so basically you're looking for a job, whatever job, and I don't want to hear that as an employer. I want to hear that you're looking for this kind of job that I'm having now published.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good thing. Now that you said that the CV should be customized, it should solve a problem, also should be a marketing material. Is there a thing that you would recommend for people to read in a job ad or a job post when they are looking for a job? Is there some particular things that they should look for?
I would say, first of all, to read carefully the job ad and not just apply to everything that says, I don't know, web developer. If you're a web developer, or if you're a developer, just like that. Try to look at read carefully, understand also the kind of company you're applying to. Everything is super explicit, but you can, if you read carefully, you can understand what matters for them in terms of the culture of the company, what attitudes, what way of being they are looking for. And also this comes to the soft skills that you put in your CV. Mm-hmm. And then also in terms of soft skills, you can easily find those out, even if they are not like explicit word by word said in the job ad. But looking at the responsibilities, you can notice that, hey, this is more like communicating with other departments, or they emphasize that they're looking for someone that is solution focused. So probably they would need someone to point out different things because others don't, and that's why they're looking for that now. So it's reading carefully, and yeah, just I think it's more like try to be like to look at it in a common sense, and not also. One other thing that candidates do is to overthink. So you can go easily from one thing to another, and then again, it's not working for you but against you. So just try to use your common sense.
Okay.
And of course, in terms of requirements, usually the recommendation is apply to a job if you fit 80% with the job post.
Okay, so you don't have to fit perfectly.
No, but again, if you fit like maybe under 50%, you're definitely, you can take your chance, but don't be disappointed if you're not called back.
Okay. Yeah, that's important. Now, what do you think are some red flags? Like when you read a CV, what are some things that you would say from the start when you read the CV, this is not the one? So what are some mistakes or some red flags that people put in a CV that we should try to avoid?
I would say one of the first things, it's not paying attention to the document that you're sending. I received some CVs that, oh my God, it's so hard to just follow the information. So, and again, I mentioned earlier, a confused reader, let's say, not only recruiter, will just like, okay, next, because they have a lot on their table, not because they are bad people. Not having kind of the scrambled information, not being structured enough. Of course, bad grammar, it's like, and typos and stuff like that. I mean, this is your one chance to get in front of me. Do it right. I'm expecting you to read your CV several times. I do advise all my clients to share the CV with friends, with family, give them the document, see if they have anything to say. Probably they will notice at least one thing that you've missed, because you've created a document. It's normal to the human eye to just skip things and complete the information from the head. And one other thing, ask if they understand what you put there. Since you're asking opinions, okay, what you understood I've done there, is this clear enough? because you need to make it clear enough. For someone that doesn't know you, you need to make it clear enough in the CV, what exactly have you done, and what do you want to say there. Red flags, yeah, a lot of information. I have some candidates are like sharing way too much information, like it's so hard to understand, okay, what exactly wants to say. Don't put stories, novels, no, it's not the case. But also don't go the other way and just put like the job title and think that's enough. Share, I would say, a good amount of information so I can understand as recruiter that you have the skills that I'm looking for. You are an interesting enough person for me to call you and to want to find out more about you.
Okay, so really interesting that you said you have to put the right amount. Do you have like an advice? What would be the amount, the right amount, or
I think it depends. Yeah, it's quite hard to say that, but for example, at a job, I would say if your kind of job responsibilities that you have there, if they exceed like maximum 10 bullet points, that's way too much. And for a fresh graduate, like 3 bullet points, it's enough.
okay?
In terms of the length of the CV, I would say for a fresh graduate should be enough, 1 page. For a professional, 2 pages. If you're like very senior, maybe 3. But again, you don't need to share everything that you ever done or you know. You need to share the information that it's relevant for the job and company you're applying to. The being relevant aspect is something that I'm repeating continuously with my clients.
Okay. Now, a question that I received a lot in the past is that should people go with the standard format, like for example Europass, or should they make their own custom CVs?
I would say go with what makes you feel good about your CV, but keep in mind that too many tables, too many graphics, too many, let's say, visual elements or different lines in the CV, splitting in different kind of boxes. That's not very good for the ATS, and that's the applicant tracking system. And basically are the systems where you send your CVs to. And you don't want to mess up also with the ATS. Some companies, not a lot of them, against the common kind of spread around. They spread around these rumors like, if the ATS doesn't like you, you're never going to be seen, or like, no, most companies are actually not using the ATS that way, but still the ATS might scramble even more your CV if it has different tables and stuff, and won't be able to parcel the right way the information. So you don't want that. I would say that there are a lot of websites where you can find nice templates. Just don't play too much with tables and different colors. Just stick with 2 colors, not I don't know how many, because I've seen also that, and make sure they're not like too strong colors, because it's a CV, unless of course you're a creative professional, and that's another story.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, usually when people are applying for jobs on, especially on different websites, that they do require also a cover letter. So, do you think that the cover letter is important? And if it's important, what should it contain?
Yes, usually it is, but also many companies or recruiters don't have the time to look on those. That's the reality. But especially if you're a young professional, or if you're not a perfect match with the job that they advertise, then yes, prepare a cover letter, and in the cover letter, explain why you have applied to the job. Don't repeat in the cover letter what is already in your CV. The cover letter, it's an addendum, if you want, to your CV. You don't need to repeat what's there again, because they already have your CV. You submitted that first. What you need to mention there is the relevant experience, like 2-3 aspects from your CV that speaks directly with their need and why you have applied to that particular job or to that particular company, or both, ideal. So you can address the culture part as well. And yeah, I would say focus on that. Usually has like 4 paragraphs, and the first is like, I applied to this job, which I found out here. And I've done these things. I'm interested in this job because you're so cool. And then, of course, thank you, and I look forward to receiving, a response or an invite. Or
Okay, okay. And I have a really interesting question right now for you. So there is this Instagram trend, but not necessarily only on Instagram, but it's especially on Instagram, that you should be an entrepreneur. And this, it sounds really good and really interesting, and people are taking it to a whole new level. And now we have people that are finishing or not a college, but they're really, really young, and they are thinking about being an entrepreneur as a freelancer, like having their own gig, doing things, looking for clients and so on, and building and sharpening their skills. Do you think it's important from a career perspective, if you want to build a career, to start a job or to start a freelance thing?
I think this again speaks to your core and what speaks to you more, because some people just don't feel right in jobs. They don't like to be told what to do. They don't want to do things because the thing needs to be done, but because it makes sense for them. And a lot of the times in a job, you need just to do things because it needs to be done, and that's it. You don't need the justification. The business needs it. But then as well, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It's a lot of doing things by yourself, and not only things that you love. It's managing different aspects. It's a lot of admin work and administration of different, I don't know, papers and stuff like that. It might be, if you're doing it seriously, and like you really want to do it also legally and not just going on websites and do stuff for people, that you might need to employ people, right, for you, like an accountant or someone to manage your papers, right? So it's not that straightforward. It's not like, hey, I'm my own boss and I'm doing whatever I want. Yes, but also if you relax too much, you don't have enough money to live. So it's just balance things and see what's more important for you. Yeah, you're fitting with your time, with your resources, with choosing with whom you want to work with. Or do you want stability? Do you want to kind of know, okay, I'm starting here, and in time, kind of I have a certain progression that I can also think in terms of career, right? I have a vision and what steps I can take. I don't think it's good or bad, either of the options. It's more like who are you, right? What's important for you?
Yeah, and I think it's really important what you mentioned right now is that if you're a kind of person that loves stability and really likes to focus, learn, and not be under constant pressure or stress, then the job is the safe place that will allow you to have an income, a stable income, as stable as it can, and then to give you some more opportunity to grow. On the contrary, as a freelancer or as an entrepreneur, you have this constant stress that if you don't find your clients, or if the clients do not buy from you, or if you don't solve the right problem or at the level of quality that is required, you have no money. So you have all this extra pressure on top, right? So like from this point of view of extra pressure, do you think that this extra pressure helps you grow, or actually makes you really on your toes, always be afraid, and then you are starting to not grow as fast as you could in a job?
Yeah, I don't see entrepreneurship like always connected with like, yeah, maybe being anxious or what you're gonna do next month. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a constant pressure, of course, but comes also with a lot of good aspects for those that find themselves with kind of entrepreneurial spirit. And often those people have quite some issues in accepting authority in a job, for example. As I mentioned earlier, like why I need to do this, just explain me. And like some leaders or managers will explain you, but most will just like, come on, this is your job. Why you're asking? Like just do stuff. So no, I wouldn't say it depends a lot on how you are as a person. Some people, the pressure helps them grow and they need that. Other people are just blocking. If you put them in pressure, under pressure, they freeze and they're not capable of thinking right. So again, depends who you are.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Now let's talk a little bit more about interviews, right? So we applied for a job. We have sent a really cool CV that is the right size. We have the right cover letter, and then the first interview comes, right? How should we approach it, and what would be the best attitude to have in that first interview?
Well, the first interview when, let's say, you're looking for a job in a sequence, it's one thing. I do want to address first the idea of like first ever interview,
Okay.
which I would advise to actually not be in the job that you want the most, because probably not going to do so well. So just try some interviews for the sake of going to interviews. Practice. Take the time to practice and take it as it is. And then if we're talking about interviews, I would advise to just be there as you are. Be yourself. A lot of candidates, when they really, really want a job, they try to impersonate someone that they think should be at that interview actually. And that's not really doing the trick, or maybe would do for like a couple of interviews. But think about the fact that they will hire that persona that you put there, and then at the job you will arrive. So how it's just be yourself, because that also takes off the pressure. It's quite hard to be someone else and ask the questions that you need to ask in an interview and answer the questions you're asked, and like it's quite hard to do that. So just be yourself, and then try to be there in the interview and not in your head. Often young professionals are a lot in their heads, and like, I've read this and this and this, and I decide I need to answer like this. She's going to ask me now about what I want, so I'm already preparing so they don't wait for a question to be properly asked, and they kind of don't answer back sometimes to the right question. They miss totally the point of the question, and that's really not the way to go. So just be there, listen carefully, try to be yourself, try to be relaxed, but in the same time, don't forget you are in an interview. Don't forget, even the interviewer is like super nice, the job of that person is to find the right person for the job and for the company. They're not your friends. Also, one other thing regarding the questions, always go back to what you saw in the job ad and what you know about the culture of the company, because connecting your answers to those questions with the job ad and the culture will probably help you a lot in providing the right answer, the right examples, addressing the right things.
Yeah, makes sense. And I really like the fact that you said that you should practice interviewing, like not thinking about you have only one interview and you land the dream job, but try to practice it, try to apply for different jobs related to what you want to do, and then go through this interview and not put all the things into one interview.
I had senior colleagues, like engineers, that they have the same job for 10 years, but they are going to interviews time to time just to practice, just to see what's out there and not to kind of lose their interview skills, right? So just be there in the market, see what's happening, practice a bit, see where you are as well in time. If you're a senior, you will want to check where you are in the market, and that's one way to go to interviews.
That's really cool and relieving at the same time. Then as a freshman, as somebody that starts new, to know that also senior people, like people with a lot of experience, are constantly taking interviews, even if they are not thinking to switch the jobs. only to not lose touch with that feeling, like to be in the game, to be prepared. Like, so I think it's really important and reliving at the same time to know that they're also doing it. And it's really interesting because nobody teaches us this. Like, nobody tells you, hey, you need to keep practicing. You cannot get it perfectly from the start, right? So yeah. One other question that I think it's important here is related to the money. And I think like people are really scared, or they don't know exactly how to prepare for this. So like, what would be your some advice when people are preparing and they are asked how much money do they want? How should they know how to answer to that question?
Yeah, there are different approaches on this. Depends who you ask to. What- but one approach says that you should basically leave it to, I'm sure you are a good company and you're offering money within the market. So I trust I'm going to be pleased with that because I basically target the job and the company. And that's one way to go. But that doesn't really help the company either in terms of understanding, okay, if I'm going to release an offer, that offer is going to be enough for you to be motivated for this job. So you kind of, if you offer early on a number, it avoid the situation in which, oh my god, I totally didn't thought you're going to offer me this, but like, I don't know, with 50% more. So you get in this weird situation. I would say study a bit the market. Go online and search for salaries for the particular job you're looking for, and the country. If you're switching countries, you can find that online. Just Google it. Indeed and Glassdoor, for example, have some benchmarks in terms of salaries that are not that specific or straightforward, but at least you have an idea. Mm-hmm. And then speak with people that you already know that are doing that kind of job. Ask people around. I'm looking for, and explain why, because it's just weird how much money you make. It's like, no. But just explain, I'm doing this interview and I'm thinking like this. What do you think? Would you think it's, just consult people and see what they say. But if you don't have anyone to ask, then just go online and do some research and have some sort of number prepared. If you're not sure maybe for the number, or indeed you really want the job and the money is not that important, you can say like, I think this would be fair, but again, I'm really like the company, I really like the job, and I would like to have a chance to take the job because I think this is more important than money. So I'm flexible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, makes sense. There's this question that I received a while back from a friend of mine that says that they are suffering from this intruder syndrome. They were trying to apply for a job that they would love, and they actually managed to land their dream job. And then when they were actually doing it, they had this intruder syndrome, that they were feeling like they're not good enough for it, they are not prepared, even if they're doing a really good job, but they could not get rid of that intruder syndrome. What do you think they should do about that?
Well, first let's say that it's the intruder syndrome is pretty common. That's one thing that people need to understand, that this is normal. It's nothing wrong with you. It's just something that happens even to the most successful people out there. They always have, well, not always, but a lot of the times they have like this voice inside them, like maybe they will discover I'm a fraud. Because that's the story that basically runs in the back of your head. I'm a fraud, they will discover me. I would say you need to get back to all the things you already achieved, or you things that you already know, to remind yourself that you're not there by chance. And also those people are professionals. They know what they're doing. So if they trust you with the job, trust that they know how to do their jobs, and you're yeah, you're not that great of just fooling people. So try to remind yourself what you're good at, your qualities, I would say, every time. And if it's hard, just list that and have it in front of you.
Okay, that's a really good thing to hear, and I think it's also relieving for a lot of people that are suffering from that, especially that we know that it's not one thing, right? It's not only few people have it, like most of people out there have it. So I think it's really
Yeah.
really cool.
One additional, let's say, advice here would be to speak with friends, with colleagues, and have some reinforcement from there, because they will tell you what you're doing right. And
Okay.
it's always good to have positive feedback, right?
Yeah, definitely. A positive feedback always helps. So yeah. Now my last question for you is: where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me both on Facebook and Instagram with Roxana Giubernea Career Coaching. And then on LinkedIn, you'll just find me with my name. I don't have a company page or anything. So just, yeah, reach out. You'll find there also my contact data.
Cool. I want to thank you very much for your time today. It was a blast to talk with you. I think we discovered a lot of things that can be new for some that will see this video. So I really want to thank you for taking the time and also for putting the time to explain all these things so in detail, so it's clear for everybody. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much as well. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, now one last thing before we end, I want to tell you all that this series is part of an early access program that we have for Studylia. So Studylia is this platform that it's for education. It's the new way of how we believe the education should be. That the education should be social, and I think we believe that it should happen as it happened today, right now, by talking, by being surrounded by people like-minded, and be able to ask questions and also bring that to the table and see what other people are thinking. And also from Roxana, we heard today how important is to connect, how important is to be able to be part of a group and see how others are doing things and how they also approach different problems. So this is how we think and believe that the education system should be, and this is what Studylia is, a platform where these things can happen. And I want to leave you with an ending quote that I think it's really, really important for everybody when they think about the career. And it's from Tim Hazel from the book The Wilderness of Loneliness. And it sounds like this: it is difficult to receive when your fists are clenched. It is difficult to see when your eyes are closed. It is impossible to embrace when your arms are crossed. It is hard to discover when your mind is made up, and the heart that has sealed itself off from giving has unknowingly sealed itself off from the ability to receive love. And I think it's really important to think about this, take for a moment and try to reach out, try to help people and connect when you're thinking about a career. Thank you very much for joining. It was a pleasure. I'm Aurelian, and see you next time.